What's up, guys and gals, and whatever else you call yourselves? It's been a while, but I'm back. It's been a long winter. It's been cold and windy, and I've been working a lot and kind of had no ambition. I know it's not an excuse. We're supposed to be out here every day, but I'm back. And it's a beautiful day, 60 degrees, sun is shining, leaves are growing on the trees, birds are chirping, even though it snowed yesterday. Yay, Maine. I haven't got much done in the last few months since my last video, but I'm back at it now. I got the T out of storage, making some progress on the Buick. So I figured I'd give you guys a quick rundown of what's going on, where I'm at, and where I'm going. The T is running great. I had a skip. When I would go from low gear to high gear, it would skip and surge, and then it would come out of it and run good above, say, 35 miles an hour. But from when you first transition from low gear, top end of low gear, to high gear, it would just spit and sputter. And anyway, long story short, I know, too late. I traced it back to number one coil. They were 4 coils I bought last year, rebuilt through Lang's. And for whatever reason, that number one coil was a little sketchy. Whenever I put it in my ECCT to test them, they would all test good. And I highly recommend the ECCT. Oh my gosh, that thing is amazing. And that's a story for another video. But so when I first got this out and drove it home, it was doing that thing. It was really bugging me. So I'm like, well, I'll check the coils. It's been parked for a while. And number one coil was hanging up and it wasn't firing. When I increased the RPM on the ECCT, it would come out of it and it would work fine. So I'm like, So I changed it out with a spare. Problem's gone. Made a huge difference in how the car runs. So that is a nice relief to have that sorted out. I ordered a rebuilt generator off of eBay, and I got that in, and for whatever reason the rebuilder polarized it to positive ground. And I don't know if he's a Model A rebuilder and that's what he had in mind, but T's from the factory are negative ground. So when I hooked it up, I had negative 29 volts at the terminal on a 6-volt system. That seemed kind of high. The brushes were arcing. I'm like, whoa, shut it right off immediately. Started to investigate what was going on. Reached out to the rebuilder. He told me how he polarized it. I'm like, well, okay. So there is a simple procedure, which I can go into in a later video, how to repolarize them for positive ground. I've done that, and I've got a charging system again. Although I have an anomaly, because nothing's a free ride in a Model T. The cutout, I'll be going down the road and it's fine, and then it'll cut out and it'll stay out for a while, and then it'll come in for a second and drop out. And I know that's partially how it's supposed to function, but it's staying out too long, I think. So I'm wondering if I have an issue with the cutout. I have a Fun Projects voltage regulator that I'm going to put in place of the old school cutout and see if that solves my problem. So I've been out here troubleshooting that a little bit. But the more important project for today is the Buick. So yeah, this has been fun. I've been fighting with the exhaust manifold for right along since I got the car here. And the intermediate section, I don't know what you call this. It's like the heat pipe, or I don't know. It's the interface between the exhaust manifold, the exhaust manifold and the intake and exhaust. It was broke when I got it, and I brazed it, and it was holding fine until I went to replace this, which I should have had out, my downpipe. And the exhaust was kind of loud. I'm like, oh, I'll take a look, see what's going on. I climb under the car. Yeah, there we go. High flow race exhaust. So this guy, that's not going to fly. So I went to a muffler shop, and I had this made up. I know my shop's a mess. I got to work on it. It's not perfect, but it does match the radius, almost. And I'll explain the almost in a minute. But when I hooked this up to the car, it solved the exhaust leak I had, obviously, due to the rotten pipe. But because this radius was slightly overbent, it put some pressure on this flange and snapped it. Boom. So, snapped. Okay, so I gave up, and I'm like, I cried uncle, and I said, I'll buy one. And these are expensive. If you know, they're, well, it's a funny story. I bought 2, and I'll explain that in a second. But one was $625, one was $425. So the $625 was the first one I bought, and I guess I didn't read the directions clearly enough, or the ad or whatever on eBay, and it's for the small engine, the 233, not the 320. So I get it in, everything's too small. Darn, got to send it back. so far the company's been cool, and looks like they're going to give me a refund. So thank you very much to them. So I ordered another one from a different vendor because the one I got from the first time, they were back ordered. I got it in and it looks right. It's actually outside right now drying with paint. So I'm getting ready to install that back in. Then I'm going to heat up that exhaust. I'll choose one of these bends, heat it with a torch, and just take a few degrees out of this so it's not putting pressure on that flange that sits here. Like so. And God willing, this will never happen again. So I'll finally have the darn exhaust sorted. That's my goal anyway. So just doing a little bit of cleanup. The car is actually kind of dirty. The motor's kind of dirty because I did drive it some this winter. We used it to get our Christmas tree, as you may have seen on the YouTube channel. And I drove it a little bit on sunny days when it wasn't snow on the road and just tried to enjoy it. So it's a little messy under here. I'm going to clean it up. We'll put the manifolds on in a little bit and hopefully everything will go good, and I'll get it started today and take it around the block and see if I got the exhaust leaks sorted out. So that's kind of where I'm at. I hope you guys had a good winter and that your projects are progressing. You know, the days are starting to get longer and the sun is high in the sky. So let's get outside and work on our projects and enjoy them. So until I make some progress, I will talk to you guys soon.